Howdy, welcome back to Wobble Enjoy Sports. If you're new around here, hope I can get you to consider to like the content and subscribe to the channel. But if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. Team List Tuesday, the first one of 2025, is here. North Queensland Cowboys play their first game this Friday night. Let me dive into it, please. Emanating from Barlow Park in Cairns this Friday night from 7 o'clock, the North Queensland Cowboys host the Dolphins. And yes, there are odds for this game. The Dolphins find themselves as $1.65 favourites, whereas the Cowboys find themselves as $2.35 outsiders. I will take that. Thank you very much. Let's get into the team list that Coach Todd Payten put out this afternoon. In at fullback is Matua Brown. He is a player that I have seen in the flesh, both at Queensland under-19 level and at Queensland Cup level, whether that be for Mal Meninga or what have you, for the Mackay Cutters. And I can tell you that I'm pretty excited about Matua Brown. Yes, he's got Scott Drinkwater and maybe one or other two players in front of him, but this young man, whether it be for the Cowboys in 5 years' time or a different club, he is the goods. Watch out for him this Friday night. The wingers, much more familiar to everybody, Robert Derby and Jackson Polo. Jackson Polo came out and said that he is a relative of Paul Rohihi, who just got nominated in the Cowboys' best ever 1-17 team. But Polo is a Cowboys fan and he is running out this Friday night on the wing. So that's really cool. That's really endearing. And then Robert Derby, yeah, I think you all know that I'm really riding this horse, that Robert Derby should be a starting winger, but I'll save that Cowboys team, in my opinion, for a later video. The centres now, this is interesting. These are players that we may have seen before, but we're not going to be familiar with. And Asi Lanoy is the first centre. Asi Lanoy was the 2023 A-grade Rugby League Rookie of the Year. So we will see what he is all about, or just a fraction of it, this Friday night. And then we've got Esem Ioka. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. Ioka is actually a Cook Islands international. He has played 4 tests for the Cook Islands and he has scored 3 tries in his 4 games. He plays for the Western Clydesdales in the Queensland Cup, but primarily he's a Cook Islands representative, so he is no slouch indeed. Going into the halves pairing now, Jarrett Sablu is the 5'8", and Mr. Sablu is coming from the New South Wales Cup Mounties team, where he did halfback work, but he's playing 5'8" this Friday night. One of his best attributes, he has an 88% tackle efficiency rating. So that is definitely something that Coach Todd Payten would be very much keen on seeing him replicate this Friday night to a degree. The halfback for the North Queensland Cowboys this Friday night is Zach Hertigan. He has been, or is, the under-17s Queensland country captain, and there is a lot of talk about him. He has come from the Dolphins as well, and he is on a train and trial deal, or a young guns deal, I should say. But there's a lot of talk about Zach Hertigan, and even Todd Payten came out and said that he's fit, he's excited about him, he's tough, but also Zach Hertigan matched, if not beat, he beat Tom Dearden's efforts in fitness over the off-season. If you're doing that, g'day, how you going? Holy dooly. Let's move into the forward pack now. So starting at prop, Thomas McKaylee and Cohen Hess. Oh man, Cohen Hess. He did his ACL pretty much this time last season, and he's coming out to captain the North Queensland Cowboys. The first time he's ever done that in his career, it's going to be pretty awesome to see Cohen Hess run out again. And I think he's in for a pretty good year. Thomas McKaylee as well, by listening to Coach Todd Payton earlier on today, has dropped a couple of kilos, and he's really put himself in the spotlight to be chosen, demanding to be chosen in round one this season. And then in at hooker is Carl Lawton, which is great to see. He's going to make his sort of debut for the North Queensland Cowboys. Yes, he is known for a hooker, but he's developed into an edge forward over the past 2 or 3 years at Manly. But it's good to know that he is really going to be our backup hooker. The back row for the Cowboys is going to get a lot of interest from me personally. Mason Kira is number 11, and Mason Kira is an under-19s Queensland Origin representative from last year. He played lock in that game, but he is an enormous figure. He has a massive frame, and I've seen him a couple of times, but I really can't report too much about him to you to really give you a proper summarization. But he is a bit of a skyscraper, this bloke. Kai O'Donnell had a stint with Canberra, had a stint in the Super League, and now he is where he wants to be. Kai O'Donnell, I'm really keen to see how he goes in 2025 and more or less this Friday night. And then Mali Bitungan is the lock this weekend, and I think he is one of the 3 favourites to make his Cowboys first grade debut in 2025. Going into the bench now, and this bloke, Xavier Kerisk, he has got a lot of hype himself. If there's 2, maybe 3, I'd say Matua Brown, Zach Hertigan, and Xavier Kerisk. They are the 3 young guns of this team this Friday night, running out on Barlow Park. That has got a lot of hype about them and might be actually the future of the North Queensland Cowboys. And considering the Cowboys' first grade hooker concerns at the moment, if Kerisk can mature quickly, if he can wow everybody this Friday night, he might be a very nice selection for an interchange spot in 2026. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. But Xavier Kerisk, he was a young bloke that would just finish school, and then halfway through last year he made his Queensland Cup debut, so he sort of progressed rather quickly, and he ended up playing about 13 games as well. So not only did he progress a little quicker, but he actually maintained his spot in or within the Mackay Cutters. Jersey number 15 is Nicholas Lanaz, and this is another hooker option for us to look at in the future. Nicholas Lanaz was the Jersey flag captain for the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles at hooker last season, or maybe it was the year before, but that's where he's come from, and he's up here to grab the opportunity by the horns. Jersey number 16, Jeremiah Matautia. This is another prospect in waiting. This is a diamond in the rough, a gem waiting to be found. He is another massive human being. The highlights and the couple of games that I've seen him play in, he is impressive. He does work his ass off, and he's not going to be hard to miss. It's going to be really hard to miss him this Friday night. And then John Riddell, number 17 for the Cowboys this Friday. He is playing with Mackay Cutters this year and played for them last season. And as a matter of fact, John Riddell sits inside the top 10 for statistics for the best defensive player of 2024 in the Queensland Cup. He has well over 95% tackle efficiency rating, and that makes him the 9th best defensive player in the Queensland Cup from the year 2024. And the things that I've seen from him in person and on video, yeah, he is a pretty good workhorse. And maybe not this year, but maybe in a couple of years' time or next year, I think there could be he could be a smoky for a first grade debut in the next 2 seasons or thereabouts. And then just to very quickly name Adrian Trevillion, he was a North Queensland product. He then moved down to the Raiders and he did his bloody ACL, and he's a fantastic looking hooker. And now he's found his way quietly back up to Townsville, and he's going to be jersey 18 this Friday. So keep an eye out for Trevelyan, who has made his first grade debut, one with the Canberra Raiders. And just a couple of names just to flick off. Raiden Burns for the Mackay Cutters is an exciting little pocket rocket, in my opinion, with all due respect. He is a really exciting and quick player. And then you've got Dane Akofalau. He's got some post-contact meters in him, man. If he can get 10 minutes, he might make 100 post-contact meters. He's a bit of a kamikaze sort of a player. But all in all, there are 5 Northern Pride players that are playing for the Cowboys this Friday night or have been selected in the squad. And then there's going to be 4 Mackay Cutters. And then it's going to be pretty much a mixture of young guns and trainer trials. And then a couple of first grade aspirants as well. So that's the Cowboys team for this Friday. Who are we taking on? We're taking on the Dolphins, and I'll go through the Dolphins, and I'm not going to pretend like I really know what I'm talking about too much here, obviously, but Kurt Donohoe is going to be the fullback. I thought he was more of a hooker, 5'8" sort of an option off the top of the dome. I've seen him before, but there he is at fullback. On the wings, we've got LJ Nonu and Junior Tupou from the West Tigers on one side of the paddock. Tavita Nafahu is one centre, and then Max Fengai from St. George Illawarra Dragons is also playing this Friday night. The halves pairing is probably where Sportsbet have said I think will make the Dolphins the favourites in this game. Jake Avarillo and Sean O'Sullivan are the halves pairing, and O'Sullivan is the captain for the Dolphins. The forward pack, Josh Allen, Ryan Jackson, and Harrison Graham is the hooker. And Josh Allen played for the Northern Pride last season, and in that preliminary final, he absolutely lost the plot in that game by getting sin bin. Josh Allen, I said the word kamikaze before. Oh man, go back and see that highlight. The back row for the Dolphins, Olblix Tolha, James Walsh, and Mason Teague. Mason Teague is the lock. And the interchange, Elijah Rasmussen, Lewis Simmons, John Fianganofo, and Zach Garton. That rounds out the interchange bench. $2.35 about the North Queensland Cowboys. I really like it. It's trials footy. If you want to maybe try and make yourself an extra 30 odd bucks or thereabouts, put some money on the Cowboys, because I'm going to. Thank you very much for your continuous support. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Thank you. Take care. Adios.